So after surviving that disaster, I decided to go and watch me an flashback movie that has similar premise about chasing and everything, and to see how can it be done right. Well, this would lead to the movie that we're going to discuss today, Duel. So in the 70s, ABC were doing a movie of the week, and so Steven Spielberg, in his first directorial debut, made a movie called Duel. And I personally think that this movie is a masterpiece, even though it's not really considered a movie, it's a TV movie. But this movie is still such a good movie. And this year is the 50th anniversary for that movie as well. So Duel follows Dennis Weaver as he tried to commute to his home, and along the way he encounters a truck driver, and then basically it's basically a Hitchcock movie filled with suspense, chase, and mysteries as well. And this is a like I said, this is a fantastic movie. So to make this movie, Steven Spielberg only had 10 days to shoot this movie, and he did it within like 2 weeks. And knowing that, it's insane how much he was able to accomplish in a very short period of time. And this movie was a very low budget movie. Uh, and so seeing that here, and for his directorial debut, and really knock it out of the park, like he this movie is such a good movie. It's intense from beginning to end. It definitely feels like an earlier those Hitchcocks. So a while back, I was saying how the earlier lives of Steven Spielberg is very much influenced by Alfred Hitchcock, with Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, and particularly this movie, which is again his directorial debut. If it wasn't for the success of this movie, we would have never got Jaws or Raiders or Jurassic Park. And so with this movie, he really does do a fantastic job with this movie. And if you watch the making of the movie, he always he mentions Hitchcock quite a bit, and how specifically towards the middle where the character goes to a cafe, that scene alone is definitely a Hitchcock moment
On
right there.
tenterhooks as long
And it's
as
throughout the whole
possible
movie. The
before
movie's
giving them some clue or some kind of relief. And so if Hitchcock was ever whispering over my shoulder during the making of Duel,
a Hitchcock
it was
is the
simple
fact that we never get to see the villain of the
answer these
movie. The
questions.
movie is
Just
the bad
because
guy of the movie is
ABC
a truck
has
driver,
airtime
but we only
problems,
see the truck.
and you've
We
got a
never
rare
get to see
date,
the
take your
person,
time
and
and
there's no
draw out the
explanation
suspense as long
to
as
his
possible.
motivation or her motivation. There isn't a backstory. There, we don't even get to see a physical body. We just see some, shoes and a hand. So it is to show it's a male figure. But other than that, we don't get nothing for it. There's no reason why it happened. It just happens, and that's very much like Hitchcock. Especially, it reminds me a lot of The Birds, which and also this movie does feel somewhat of like Psycho as well. And this movie, like it's like I just don't I can't believe how much he was able to accomplish in a short period of time, and the creativity that Spielberg have. And also Spielberg himself did said that nowadays he would not be able to make this movie anymore. He couldn't find himself to do this, and so he was a very young person at the time. He was like 21 when he first made this movie. So you could definitely see that when you see this movie. And like I said, this movie is actually a TV movie that was aired on ABC when they do their movie of the week. And but this movie was such a hit and so successful that they actually used extra footage and re-released it in theaters. So and so that's like TV movies nowadays aren't even mentioned. Uh, I don't know of any TV movies nowadays. But this like the thing is that Spielberg always wanted to make movies. And when he first started off with Universal, he was contracted to do TV shows. But he always took those approach to make them, more cinematic. And so with this movie, it was his step in the right direction. It was something that he really wanted to. It was, it was a TV movie. And so watching this movie, you could barely tell that it was made for TV. This movie looks so cinematic, like the way where he places the camera, where the use of like his editing and basically everything about this movie does not seem like a TV movie. It really does feel like a movie that was meant to be in theaters and not seen on a small screen. And that's insane. And I have to give props to Steven Spielberg for that because of the fact that he he was able to accomplish something unbelievable. This movie is such good. It's such an intense movie. Like, and also another thing is our main character, Dennis Weaver, that Spielberg casted him
Came up,
because of his
I immediately said,
because
"Oh
he
my
saw
God, it's got to be Dennis Weaver,"
his,
and I just went
of the
nuts.
role
And
he
George said,
played
"Why are you so
in
hot on Dennis Weaver?" I
Orson
said,
Welles'
"You never saw Touch
Touch
of
of
Evil?
Evil.
You never
and
saw the
and so
Motel
Spielberg
Caretaker?"
wanted
It's
Dennis
the greatest.
Weaver
I went on and
to
on.
kind of
And I
have
remember
that
George
same
saying,
type of
"He was
personality
pretty
that
good
in
as
that
Chester in
movie, but
Gunsmoke." I
it was
said,
by
"Yeah,
towards
that."
the end of the movie. And this everything in this movie is practically done. Like a lot of people wanted Spielberg to do this on a sound stage, but it was Spielberg himself who insisted of going outside, of shooting an actual location, and you could definitely see that in this movie. That elevates it to a whole new level. Like the stuff that you see in this movie really, you really does hold you to the edge of the seat. You really does like, you really feel the intense. You really do feel the suspense in this movie, and the fact that it's practically done, it makes it elevates it to a whole new level. Movies nowadays aren't made like this, and that's one of the reasons why I want to review this movie, because this movie is like what Spielberg says. Because I also saw the making of the movie before watching the movie, and he says that
Because
one of
I
his
take all my
key
movies
thing
seriously.
is
I took
to making a
Raiders of
good
the Lost
movie
Ark
is to
seriously.
believe
I had to
that the
believe the story
movie
was really
is
happening.
like whatever is
If I
happening in the
thought
movie
it
is
was a
really
romp and a
happening,
confection,
to
then the film would have been a
invest
parody
yourself in the
of
movie.
these serials
And even though there's a
from the
popcorn
1950s
fun
and
and you don't
40s.
have to really think
But
much about
I
it,
took that story
but
very, very seriously. And I
having
wanted the
a
audience to
character
believe that Indiana
relatable,
Jones was actually
unlikable,
going after the
and
Lost Ark of
really
the Covenant. And when
you
that
want
ark
to root
opened,
for the
the power
character
of God
not
was
because of
within
nostalgia,
and was
not
going to
because you
wreak
remember
havoc
him
on the
from
Nazis.
a
I mean, I
franchise.
believe that
Like the
stuff.
Dennis Weaver
And
character,
I don't
we
think
don't
you
know
can be a
anything about him.
a
We
serious
just met him in
filmmaker
this movie, and
making audience
feel like
popcorn movies
I
unless
really
you
wanted him
believe
to
the story
survive
you're
at the end
telling.
of the movie. And it's not because it's from a franchise. It's because of the writing of the story, of the fact that Spielberg took this movie, you know, with like, I won't say respect, but like serious. Like he wanted to make a movie that tells a story. And my God, it was a story that it told. And so like I said, because of the success of this movie, it launched Spielberg to high status. And then he was able to make Jaws, and like I said, Jaws was another influence by Alfred Hitchcock, and also Jaws and this movie are very similar. If you really do like Jaws movie, and I don't know a single person who don't like Jaws, if you like Jaws, you're really gonna like this movie as well. This movie is very suspense. It's like there's nothing negative I could think about the movie. If anything, maybe just the soundtrack. The music is fine, but it's not John Williams. It's Billy Goldenberg or something like that. But other than that, everything about this movie is fantastic. It's such a good movie, and it was so refreshing to me to able to watch a good movie after a disaster of a movie that I saw recently. So I won't say much about the movie. I really recommend you all to watch this movie. It's a simple story, a simple premise, and like I said, it's all practically done, and the suspense is from like beginning to end, and the character is relatable as well. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's what I would do too. I would do the exact same thing, and then we get to see the outcome. Like, oh, maybe what I thought wasn't a good idea, and so and this movie, like I said, is very much a Hitchcock movie, and it is definitely like a setup or a template for Jaws. And so this is a really good movie, and like I said, it's little to no budget. And he shot it in 13 days. That's ridiculous how much he was able to do with this movie. And so all props to Spielberg for this, and you guys have to watch this movie. I cannot recommend this movie enough. This movie is such a good movie. So I guess I'm gonna leave it like that, and that will be my review for this movie, folks. I hope you folks will eventually watch this movie, and let me know. Comment down below if any of you have seen this movie. If is this anyone's top 10 Spielberg movie of all time? Because I would rank this as pretty high up. This movie is a really good movie. Uh, and so I'm curious to know if any of you guys would agree with me that this is a good movie, if you have seen the movie. Or if anything, let me know what's your favorite Spielberg movie. So with that being said, I guess I'll see you on the next video because we are out of here.